Good morning, all you Encompass Thursday morning technicians. Thanks for joining us. Looks like we have a little change in the program. It's going to be a portable washing machine that we're doing. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. So here we go. This is the excuse me, this is the Magic Chef 1.6, 2.0, 3.0 cubic foot portable washer. This is actually a portable washer, one like you could put in a motor home or a trailer. It's a great little thing. The only thing is you don't have a dryer, so you need a line to put it on outside. But most of the time, whenever I'm camping, I've got a little line that I've got run, and I can certainly just use this washing machine and wash my clothes, and then hang it out on the line to dry. So here are the specifications of it. The thing you have to just make sure that you have is the right dimensions. We want to make sure that we have the right width, depth, and height. That's the main thing. Plus, we got to have the correct power supply. It's a 120 volt, 60 hertz. So it's here for the U.S. It doesn't weigh a lot. If we go down to the 1.4 cubic foot capacity, which is the 16, it only weighs 77.8 pounds. Now you have to be careful with that because of the weight. You can actually have an issue with it shaking really bad. So you just need to be aware of that. You can't put this on rollers, but it would be good for like like in my camper. I have room that I could put it in my camper, right near my bedroom, which as long as I'm not not taking a nap, I'll be okay. So let's go ahead and move on a little bit. One of the things that we need to talk about is, safety. Please be very careful whenever you're working on something. Even though it's only 120 volts, it's still enough that you can do substantial damage to yourself. Usually it's from pulling away from it. If I'm laying in water or something, that's enough to electrocute me, and that's not a good thing. So please be careful whenever you're working. Not only that, but make sure that we do not take my shoes off. That's an OSHA violation for you. Wear booties. I also carry a pair of gloves whenever I'm working on a lot of this product. It has a tendency to cut, so let's make sure that we're using that, and we're actually preventing damage to ourselves. Okay, some of the cautions things. Do not install this washing machine on carpet. It install the washer on a level floor, a solid floor that can support its weight. It's great that this doesn't weigh as much as a normal washer, but we still have to have it so that it doesn't shake and move around with the washing machine, because it will shake and move around when it goes into spin. Store it and install the washer where it is not exposed to temperatures below freezing or exposed to outdoor weather conditions. This has a board in it, so if you don't have it protected and it's not inside, you run the risk that the moisture in the air will actually short the board itself out. It will not be, if somebody found this on a back porch, say, that would void the warranty, because it's exposed to the elements. The freezing temperatures, you just need to make sure that if I'm putting this in my motorhome or my camper like I have, I am going to have to be able to pull it out and bring it inside, because it will freeze the pump if it's left outside and it gets below freezing. It will freeze the pump, cause it to burst, and then whenever it thaws out, you have a big mess, and the customer has to call you to come and fix it. Okay, I'm going to position the appliance so that a power plug is easily accessible. That's pretty easily, that's pretty standard. Unplug the power whenever the appliance is not being used for long periods of time or during a thunder and lightning storm. Goes without saying. I unplug all the electronics that I have, because if I don't, I will tell you from experience, I have lost appliances. Give you a perfect example. In my camper, I have an outside plug that I can keep my camper plugged in, so that I can at least keep it warm, so that it doesn't freeze. But I did lose a microwave because of a lightning strike. So you have to be very careful. Goes without saying. You as a technician probably know everything that I just said. Okay. The clear portion of the lid can be broken by a strong impact. Take care when using the washer. I will tell you that I have seen small children climb up on top of a washer like this and go through the lid, and then the customer gets all upset just because their kid was on something that they are not supposed to be on. And then it's, for some reason now it's your fault, or the manufacturer's fault, because it says right in the installation instructions in the customer guides, do not stand on the lid. It's not made to put stuff on. Okay. After a water failure or when reconnecting the water supply hose, open the faucet slowly, because if you don't, you get a big psh, and it can cause the water valve itself to hurt, to rupture. If the drain error occurs during the operation, check to see if there is a draining problem to begin with. That goes without saying. Do not insert your hand or a metal object under the washing machine. That's once again, that kind of goes without saying. That's kind of one of those. I'm not going to slide anything up under this washing machine whenever it's trying to wash, because whenever it's continually moving, and when it goes into spin, I could get hurt. So it goes without saying. Insert the laundry into the washer completely so that the laundry does not get caught in the lid. Once again, you can't put a normal wash in this washing machine. It only holds what it was, depending on which model you have. We're going to go back to that just because I don't remember what it was. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Well, watch this. I know a better way to get there. Here. Okay. So it is capacity 1.4 cubic feet for the smallest, 2.0 cubic feet for the middle one, and then 3.0 cubic feet for the large one. So it's like the 3.0 is about half of what your normal washer does. It's a smaller washer. You can't jump in. The big joke is you can't jump up and down on the stuff and expect it to wash and get clothes clean. So I need to keep this. If I've got this small one that's 1.4, 1.6 cubic feet, that's maybe 2 pairs of jeans. Depending on, I'm a big guy. I probably wouldn't wash 2 pairs of jeans in it. I probably am only going to wash a pair of jeans and a t-shirt in it. Is going to be all this machine will handle if I'm not really careful, and I don't want to mess the washing machine up. So the customer can't just continually or can't use it like they do in their normal washer. Okay. So insert the line right there. So insert the laundry so that it's complete and it doesn't get caught in the lid. That would be because I've got too much stuff shoved in it, or it could be simply that I just didn't put it in all the way. So that's something you got to make sure that the customer is aware of. Okay. Ensure that the faucet is turned off when the washer is not being used. Ensure the water supply hose connectors are tightened properly. Okay. One of the things that that we all know, all I'm going to do is cause a leak. And whenever it talks about the faucet is turned off when the washer is not being used, you know, if I was going to use this, I'm probably going to use this. Like I said, I have a little area that I could use this, and I'm going to turn that water off whenever I'm not using it because most of the people that I know that have one of these that they use, they turn the water off just as a precaution. Once again, I don't. If I have it plugged in, I run the risk of during a thunder lightning storm. If lightning hits this, I'll run the risk of causing the water valve to go bad. If it's so, just make sure that we turn the water off so that we don't have any problems. Okay. Open the faucet and check the water supply hose connector so that it's firmly tightened, that there's no water leaking before using the product. Goes without saying, you know, if I, as a technician, that's the last thing I checked whenever I got done working on it, was to check to see that there was no water dripping, because if I don't, I'm going to have a problem with my flooring because it's going to make it weak. Okay. Do not stand on top of the appliance or place objects such as laundry, lighted candles, lighted cigarettes, dishes, chemicals, metal objects on the appliance. The sad part about this is, you know that somebody has put a lighted candle on there and it has gotten down into the washing machine and has caused a problem. Same thing with a cigarette. Really, I'm going to put a cigarette on top of it. Dishes, chemicals, metal objects. You know, it's there for a reason. Somebody's done it, or else they wouldn't have it in there. Okay. Do not operate the appliance with that wet hands. Once again, I run the risk of getting shocked. Do not spray volatile materials such as insecticide onto the surface of the appliance. It'll get in your clothes. It's just something that you don't want to do. Okay. And the other volatile material would be a really, really harsh chemical that would cause a stain to the unit itself. Okay. Do not place an object that generates an electromagnetic field near the washer, hence a microwave. Okay. Do not operate the washer with detergent dispenser removed. Once again, just goes without saying. Do not place any laundry objects such as shoes, food waste, or animals into the washer. Once again, somebody has actually thought it was a good idea to put their cat or their dog or their pet into the washing machine, try to wash them. I mean, really? And these are things you need to be making sure that the customer understands all of these. Some of these are silly, and I understand they're silly, but they're there for a reason. Somebody's done it. I mean, it kills me that somebody would say, "Oh, let me go wash Fluffy." That's crazy, but it has happened. Okay. Ensure the water inlet pipe is connected and that the tap is open before washing clothes. Okay. Do not leave metal objects, safety pins, hairpins, etc., or bleach in the tub for long periods of time. Once again, it's going to tear something up. If I've got bleach left in it for a long period of time, I'm probably going to have a whole lot of spots on my clothes and it's going to take forever for me to get rid of it. Do not use hot water from water cooling or heating devices. What they're talking about is A lot of you don't want to use it from a regular, from like not, it's fine for the faucet, but if I have one of these new water coolers that has the hot on it, that can cause a problem. Do not wash large load items such as bedding in the washing machine. Once again, I'm not. If I have the smallest comforter, let's say it's a single bed comforter, I can't. It's not. It won't hold it. It's not. It exceeds the weight limit. Okay. Do not use hardened detergents. Do not wash throw rugs or doormats. That's because of whenever it goes into spin, I'm going to have nothing but problems. One of the things that is the most important thing, that every time you go and you're called out on this unit, you need to check this lint filter. This is what they find is like a lot of the times is the issue is they're not cleaning the lint filter. It's kind of like the lint filter in the dryer. I mean, come on, it's just like every time that we've ever been on a dryer, you pull out the lint filter and it's like 3 inches thick, and you're like, what are you looking to are you looking to knit a sweater? I mean, you have to clean this lint filter or else I'm causing problems for my washing machine. It doesn't, the circulation gets bad. It will clog the water filter. I mean, the drain pump. So it's got to be clean. Here's an easy, simple way to do it. It shows it right there. Okay. All I do is unsnap it where it is from the inside of the washer. Then I open it up, put it in a pan of water. Like I always, if you don't know me, I've always carried a 5-gallon bucket around with me for cleaning up with a cleaning up around whenever I have whenever I'm working on something that I know that I'm going to get a lot of water, like let's say a refrigerator that has frozen up, and now I have to clean it. I always keep my 5-gallon bucket with a whole bunch of rags and my steamer right there. So all I'm going to do is take my 5-gallon bucket, fill it, put some water in it. I'm going to take this out and I'm just going to wash it. I can actually take this. I can clean it with the water and then place it back into the washing machine. I can actually clean it with a little bit of Dawn detergent. That's something that works really well. The thing you got to be careful of, I can't use too much Dawn because now I will have an over sudsing issue. Okay. The filter pump. There's a built-in filter pump, just like in 90% of the washing machines today, that I've got to clean out. Okay, so the built-in filter pump protects the pump during the washing cycle. It's suggested to clean the pump every 10 cycles or as needed. I would tell you that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to ask the customer to do it every 5 cycles. That way, maybe they'll do it every 10 cycles. To clean it out, I just remove the filter from the bottom of the washing machine, clean it with warm water, and then place it back into the washer. Once again, this is down on the pump, so I'm probably going to use a little Dawn. If I have to, I can use a little soft bristle brush. I always have a toothbrush, an old toothbrush in my van, so I can use that to scrub it. So now here's what the control panel looks like, and it looks like this for all 3 models. Okay, you get this. One of the good things is this unit even though it's small, it has a soak cycle. So if I've gotten out and I've done something in the trailer and I get something dirty and I want to put something so that it can soak and maybe get it clean, more clean, I can use the soak cycle in this. So This is like I said, a smaller washer, so it's great that it has this feature on it. Okay, then we have our display, and then as you go over, you get small, medium, and large loads. We have hot, warm, and cold for the settings. We have for water. We have the normal, heavy, and delicate cycles, and then we have our bulky, our spin only, and then we got a control lock. So I can actually lock this one so the kids can't get in and mess around with it. And then we have an extra rinse feature that it has. Okay. So now right here, there's an on off. Okay. Press the on off button once, the power comes on. Press it again, and the power turns off. I have a start and a pause. Press the start and pause button for the during the operation to pause the cycle, just like it is for every other washing machine. Digital display, that's the function that I just showed you. It has 3 functions. Okay. There's press this button to select the cycle steps, including your setting cycle. The related light will be on, indicated the step is selected. Normally, all wash, rinse, and spin are included with this, with the lights on. This one also has a delay start. We all know that it's cheaper to run things at night. If I have one in my trailer, I am not going to run this at night because it's going to be right there where I'm trying to go to sleep. But if I've got it out and it's not, if it's in my area that it's not going to bother me, and I can close the door, I can run it at night, and I can set this up to, I think it's a 24-hour delay. Okay. Then I've got a load size. Once again, we already went through that. We have the temperature. We've been through that. Then we have the program. So I'm going to press this button to select the desired program. Normal. You're going to have a quick flashing, heavy, once again, bulky flashing, delicate. I'm sorry. We have a normal, which the light is lit. We have the heavy, then it's lit. Delicate is lit. Once again, if we have a quick wash, we have it flashing. If we have a bulky wash, it's flashing. And then if I just want to spin only, that's also starts flashing. It's not solid. Okay. So we have a rinse, extra rinse we can use. Press and hold to add that additional cycle. And then of course we have the control lock, which is for the kids so that they don't come in and mess around with it. Here's the delayed start. The delayed start function allows you to delay the start of the washer from 1 to 24 hours. I'm going to push the delay after the wash cycle. Once I get through everything else, it will start whenever it will start a countdown, and then whenever that countdown reaches 0, it will start the washing machine. Okay. If you want to cancel the delay start function after it's started, the power of the unit off and reset all the functions before you reset the washer, which is where it is anything if you've got it in your dishwasher. Exact same thing. Okay. There's a pause button. Like I said, we had talked about that. So let's say I am washing a couple of towels and a washcloth, and I say, oh my gosh, I forgot my washcloth. Hit the pause button, put it in, and then go ahead and hit the start button. Okay. If the one thing that you need to remember on the pause button is when the washer is running, wait for the tub to stop moving so that you can, before you raise the lid. Okay. There's an extra rinse button. And of course, we're talking about the lock control. Press and hold the temp and the program simultaneously to activate it. The digital display will show CL. So if you get one into a washing machine and it's displaying CL and the customer says it's dead, now you know what the problem is. Okay. So This unit is 120 volts. Of course, it's on 60 cycles. It's rated at 7.9 amps. So it has to be on a 10 amp plug. Most of them are 15 and 20. So you're well within specs. The drum size, like I said, is 3 cubic feet on the big one. We went through the drum sizes before. Here is your wiring diagram for this. I mean, it's a pretty simple wiring diagram. You got power in, you got power out. So if I am actually looking for, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go up so that I can read this. If I'm actually looking for my power in, okay, I can check the black wire right there at the first plug that goes into my controller, and then I can pick the neutral up from over. If you come over to the display, going over, there's the light and then the display. So I can pick all of that up from there. Here's an actual picture of that. Okay. This is what it actually looks like. Okay. Here's your control board. This is showing you where all the plugs are, the light. Okay. So if I have in the display C1, if I'm gonna check it, I'm gonna press and hold the water level and the temp button, and then press the power button. Okay. All the lights on the PCB will come on, and then it will buzz 6 times. If I have C2 in the display, I'm going to first enter C1 and press wash 1 time. Okay. Then I'm going to enter C1 and press the water level again. That way it'll show me the function. The impeller will turn clockwise and then lovely. I love the anti-clockwise. So it will turn either clockwise or counterclockwise. I'm sorry. This is not a made in America, so it has some challenges sometimes. So next we have if we have a C3 in the display, we're going to go back and we're going to enter into the C1, and then I'm going to press the spin. Once I do that, the tub will start turning. Okay. If I have a C4 in the display, I'm going to enter that C1 cycle, and then I'm going to press the water level. That will adjust the fuzzy specification when the tub is empty. So here's all the tools that I am going to need to work on this machine. Of course, I need a Phillips head, a flat head, a pair of dikes, a pair of, or I don't know what you call them. I call them dikes. They may be called lineman pliers, or there may be another one for that. Then we have the needle nose pliers. Then we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 wrenches that that I have to order and get. You can order those from Encompass, of course. Okay. Then once again, I have a number 13 spanner wrench. I have the number 2. If I come back to this other one right here, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what those are. Of course, that's the spanner wrench, the sleeve spanner, the sleeve spanner for those 1, 2, 3. Then I have a number 6 inner angle wrench. Okay. Then I need a pair of needle nose pliers. They call it regular pliers. Those are not regular pliers. Those are dikes. Then a pair of cross screwdriver. That would be a Phillips head screwdriver. And then, of course, the other one, you can call it a slotted type screwdriver. I just call it a regular screwdriver. Okay. So once again, if I'm going to work on this, I'm going to unplug it just to make sure that I'm not going to have any problems. If I'm checking something on the board, I can always check it using the ohm scale. Okay. And if I find something that seems a little hinky or doesn't fit, I can actually plug the washer in and check it. But I'm going to make sure that I have nothing around me that will cause it to spark and cause the board to short out. But we've got everything basically ready for this. Okay. So if I'm going to take the back cover of this washer off, you can see all the screws. It's basically got 10 screws in it, and I'm gonna remove those 10 screws. Kind of reminds me of the old Whirlpool washing dishwasher dryer, where it had 14 screws around the back side. Okay, the earth screws, the earth ground, the capacitor, and pull out the air pipe. So this is their instructions on how to disassemble everything. So the one thing that you need to make sure of is that the air pipe and the suspended poles separate, just like you have to do with all of the whirl away washers. You just have to be careful and make sure that you have all those separated so that you can, if you're going to remove everything, you can get it out. Okay, I'm going to undo the earth ground screw. Make sure that the earth wire subassembly comes out. And the cabinets, the cabinets separate. Unscrew the capacitor screws, which are the second one down. You can see that. And then pull out the air pipe. You know what the air pipe is, right? That's the one that tells you how much water I have in it. Okay. If I'm going to once I do that, I can pull the insulating bag and then remove the wire connector. It's showing you it doing it right there. Next, I'm going to pull the nylon cables and slide the insulating bag out. It's showing it, the insulating bag laying on the floor right there, and then remove the crimp terminal by pliers. So it has a pinch crimp tool. So I'm going to use my pliers to remove that. I actually have a pair of pliers designed for they designed for that type of clamp. So that may be something, if you don't have one, you might want to invest in. They're not that expensive, but I've had the worst problems with trying to get my regular pliers to stay on whenever I'm removing that panel. So here's a picture of once we get everything out. This is what it looks like. Okay, here they've disconnected the water. I mean the sensor. The sensor. They have disconnected the air gap, so it's all set there. Okay, if I'm going to remove the PCB, which is an important thing to be able to do, I'm going to unscrew the whole plugs and the controller board screws. Okay, unscrew the PCB screws, then divide the plug terminal of the door and the magnetic switch and the wire assembly. Then if I'm going to do that, I'm going to take down the controller board and the controller board panel, separate those two, pull out the controller board terminals. When you pull out the plug wire and connect the wires, you must insert the terminals into the roots. They're not easy to pull, so you may have to use a pair of needle nose or a screwdriver, however you want to do it. You can see right there where they have removed it. Okay, so then I'm going to remove the that plastic hole that covers the screw. I'm going to remove that. Then unscrew the 2 screws at the top cover. It shows you right there how to get the top off. Then I get two on this. There's 2 on each side. Okay. Then I'm going to take the top cover. I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to set it out of the way. And then this exposes the inner tub. Okay. So once I do that, I have to be very careful not to scratch it. So I'm going to put that on a blanket or a cloth, have something so that I can protect that top cover. Because the last thing you want to do is scratch the customer's unit. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take down the front breaker plate, the side breaker plate, and then the back breaker plate. You can see each one of those right there where they're describing each one of those. Okay. The PCB impact switch and the water inlet valve, the water level sensor, and then the internal wire subassembly, which is shown right there. You can see right there where it is. We're going to take out the front breaker plate, the side breaker. Oh, that's funny because it leaves it all exactly the same. All right. So take out the internal wire subassembly and then remove the nozzle assembly screws and take out the nozzle assembly. Now I have this basically totally torn apart. Okay. Then I'm going to remove the outer tub. How do I do that? I unscrew the outer tub screw covers and take out the outer tub cover. Okay. Then once I do that, I can remove the impeller. Gee, look at that and look at that impeller cover. Recognize that? Then I'm going to unscrew the impeller screws. I'm going to take out the impeller. Once I take out the impeller, look at what's left. Okay. Once I do that, I'm going to unscrew the spin tub bolts. I'm going to take out the spin tub bolts, and that'll leave me with being able. Now I can lift separate the inner and outer tubs. Okay. So if I want to get it all the way down to the outer tub, I'm going to make sure that the suspension rods and the outer tub subassembly are free. Then once I do that, I can actually lift the outer tub up and out. Okay. There's some parts there that are attached to the outer tub. So how do I get those parts out? I can remove the motor screws and take out the motor. That'll drop the motor off the unit. Remove the bracket screws, and then I can take out that bracket. I can remove the clutch body subassembly screws and take out the clutch body subassembly. Then I'm going to make sure that the reactor and the clutch body subassembly screws, remove the reactor screws, and take out the retractor. Then that'll drop me down, and now I've got it so that I can get it all the way down and have everything out. So if I take out those 4 base plate screws, then I have it totally separated. Okay. Now for our error codes. Okay. If I have an E1 error code that tells me that I'm not getting the correct amount of water. So when the water in the tub doesn't reach, okay, then the PCB will show this E1 in the display. So this is a timeout feature. Okay. Some of the machine is 30 minutes or more. Some are more than 30 minutes. So if I don't get if I don't get water in it, usually it means that somewhere they either have a crimped line, the water's turned off. Where am I going to go? I'm going to check that there's no water or water's very little in it, the tub itself. I'm going to check the water tap, make sure that it's opened. And then I'm going to check my water pressure to the unit, making sure that I have the correct water pressure. The water inlet valve could be blocked. It could be that I have some trash that has gotten into the water inlet valve. So if I'm gonna check that water inlet valve, I'm gonna have to turn off the water. I'm gonna have to remove the I'm gonna remove the hoses. I'm gonna look at the water inlet valve itself, pop out that little wire mesh inside the hose. I'm gonna take and clean that if I see that there's trash in it. And with these being designed mainly for trailers and motorhomes, you're probably going to have a lot of this, because you never know whenever you pull up to a motorhome, when you pull up with a motorhome or with the trailer. I never know what the water's been like, so I may end up with a lot of trash in the valve, and I'm going to have to clean it out. Okay, so if I have a loose fill hose, I'm going to know that because I've got water already all over the floor. Okay, I could have a loose PCB connector, so my power to my circuit board could have a loose connection. It could have separated. I just need to make sure that I get those put back in and plug back in and see if it works. If none of that works, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my PCB. I'm probably going to ohm out my water valve. My water valve ohms out. I'm probably going to have to do what I told you not to do, and that's plug the unit up and check power from the board to the water valve. And then if I get that, and I have power going out to my water valve, and it's 120 volts, I know that my water valve's gone bad. Or if I don't have the correct voltage going to my water valve, I know that my PCB has failed. Okay. Can't stop the water. How many times have you gone in and somebody's come in and told you, hey, I turned the water off because it just wouldn't stop? I can't tell you the number of times that in my career that this has happened. So one of the things I got to do is the water level sensor switch could be bad. Okay, it could be that the wire popped off because it went into a crazy wild spin cycle. So I'm going to check everything that has to do with my level sensor switch. Okay. If that's all good, I'm going to move on to the next one, which I could have a water sensor failure. So first thing I'm going to do as a technician, I'm going to separate it right at where it goes into the hose. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to blow on the hose itself and see if I hear the click for the water level sensor switch. Then I'm going to put it all back on and try it and see if it worked now. And if it does, then I definitely have a bad water level sensor. And it could be any number of reasons. I'm probably either going to, depends if it's mine, I'm probably just going to let it go and see if it happens again. If I'm at a customer's house, the last thing I want to do is make a second trip because it worked great for 3 times and now it doesn't work at all. So I'm going to just go ahead and replace that water level sensor switch. Okay. So if I have a PCB failure, of course, I'm going to have to go in and check once again, the same thing that I had to check before. I want to make sure that I have nothing around me that I can cause a reaction. So I'm going to plug it up, going to set it all together. I'm going to check power in and power out of my board. If my board has failed, then I'm going to have to replace the board. Okay. So if I have an E3 in the alarm, okay, that is telling me that the alarm for the lid switch is open. Okay. When the washing machine is in the spin program, the safety switch is not closed, which is causing the alarm that you're hearing from the machine. Okay, so I've got to go back and I've got to check. So the first thing I'm going to check is to make sure that my magnetic cover to the switch is locking. It's actually working. I have to make sure that the switch closes. If I don't have that switch closing, I know that I got a bad lid switch. So I'm just going to replace that. How am I going to do that? You can do it any number of ways. I actually carry a spare magnet with me, so that I can get to that lid switch and put that on it and see if it actually see if it closes it, and then I may have to readjust that lid switch if it works fine, and then all of a sudden whenever I put it back on, it doesn't. It tells me that my lid switch is not closing properly. Okay, the magnetic cover switch and the power cable could be loose, so I'm just going to reconnect the power cord and check to make sure that it works properly. If it doesn't, then I know that I'm going to have a lid switch. Okay, if I have a PCB failure, which is the last thing that I'm going to look at, that tells me that if I'm going to have to check it, I'm going to have to check my power in to the board, power out of the board to this lid switch. If I don't have that, one of the things that it could have happened is it could have been getting hit by a lightning strike or a power surge. Sometimes I have been camping and had power surges happen and knocked my trailer all the power in my trailer goes out. And then I have to go in and flip all the switches because there was a power surge that came through the trailer park, like at the camping site. Okay. Then if I have an alarm, which is an E4, I get that E4. That just tells me that I have an unbalanced load. So I'm going to have to go in, and it may be that one of the rods may have dropped off. I'm going to check that. First thing, of course, is you're going to check to make sure that it's unbalanced. So I'm going to check I may have to put the clothes back and readjust the clothes. The clothes could be unbalanced, which is what we were talking about. Could be a suspension rod failure, which is what I just said. The machine is balanced, but it's still shaking seriously. It could be that a safety switch is deformed, so I may have to go in there and either try to fix it or replace that safety switch. Okay, I have an E2 error code. Okay, that's the alarm for not draining. When the water is in the tub, it didn't drain out completely. That is normally it waits 10 minutes before it throws this error code, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to go, and of course the drain pipe could be that it's hung too high. Of course this unit doesn't have this huge drain pump, so if this is stretched 8 feet high, it's probably not going to drain properly. The drain valve itself could be clogged, so I'm going to take out the water filter. I'm going to take out the filter, and I'm going to check the filter. If that's not the problem, I'm probably going to shine a flashlight behind there, see if I can see anything that is keeping the unit from draining properly there. If not, I'm going to have to take off the drain pump, look at the drain pump, see if it checks out good. If the drain pump checks out good and there's nothing around that, I'm going to check it, and I'm going to check the drain pump itself for the right power going to it. If I have the correct voltage going to my drain pump, I know that I got a bad drain pump. I can ohm out my drain pump and see if my drain pump is actually. Hang on one second. excuse me, I can check to make sure that my drain pump is actually working properly. If I ohm it out and I get and it ohms wrong, then I know that I've got a bad drain pump and I have to replace it. The tractor has a sound but can't open the drain valve. The retractor is not running, or it could be the retractor, and replace the PCB if all of that works. So if I get an E2, here's a little bit more. Replace the retractor, check when it's functioning, see if it's checking okay. Then the drain pump can't drain. The drain pump makes a sound, but it can't drain normally. We're going to do the same thing. It's not running. Check and if it's not running, I'm going to check and see what check the fuse situation. But the whole problem is if I have a fuse situation, it would have been that this drain pump caused way too much power on the circuit, and that would, because it's already run through part of the wash. Okay. Then replace the drain pump, check whether the function after I replace it. Then if I have a PCB failure, once again, I'm going to have to check my power into my PCB, check my power out of my PCB, then the power going into my drain pump. I could have a broken wire. You have to be sure that you don't have a broken wire, because one thing that I have found is I may drop a neutral, and the neutral going to the drain pump, I don't have a neutral. So you have to be careful whenever you're going and you're checking between the two connectors, power into the connector. Don't check the power from one with a power and one to a ground. Check it power neutral. Check both of those. Don't check it with it on the ground, going to ground. Okay. The water tub is drained out too slowly. Water level sensor could be bad. I'm going to check all of that. I'm going to replace the water level sensor if that's not right. And it could be that the PCB has failed again. So I am going to have to go and I'm going to have to go check all of that. Okay. The washer won't start. Okay. So here's what they're saying is the four things that you should check. Okay. First thing I'm going to check, of course, the first thing I'm going to check is my incoming power. I'm going to check to verify that I have 120 volts coming into it. If I don't have 120 volts coming into it, I'm going to have to go find the circuit breaker. In my case, on my trailer, it's a 12. It's got a little plug, like it's got a little fuse that's like the one on my truck, and I unplug that, check it, make sure that it's good, and I plug it back into the fuse box. Could be that the fuse itself is not making good contact, so I got to be sure about that. Okay, then the next thing is to check the power cord. Okay, I'm going to ohm my power cord out. So that's pretty simple. You go black to black. I ohm that. If it checks and I got continuity, I go to my neutral, checks. If I got continuity there, go to the ground. If I go to the ground and it checks, everything checks good, I know that I got a good power cord. I could have a bad line fuse. If the washer won't start, the line fuse might have blown, and then the line fuse holder might be damaged or needs to be replaced. So I'm going to have to go back down, remove those 10 screws out of the back so that I can go and find my line fuse there that I showed you, and I can check to see if I can check that line fuse, ohm that line fuse out. Okay. Then we have a main control board. Once again, to do that, I'm going to have to check power into the board and power out of that board. So I hope that answers your question on that. So I'm going to take just 1 minute We're going to stop for just a second. Does anybody have any questions over what we have gone over? I'm sorry, that gives me time to get one more sip of coffee before we go. Okay, so the washer fills slowly, or it doesn't fill at all. Once again, we've been through. We talk about what low water pressure could be from the house supply. I'm going to have to check that. Usually, all I do is go to the sink, turn the sink on, see if that works. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to go. I'm going to have to figure out why I have such low water pressure. I'm probably going to go outside. Like I said, if this is my camper, I'm going to just go outside, turn the water on, coming from the pump in the state park to see if I've got the right water. If I don't, then I'm probably going to have to go and talk to whoever it is and have them give me another campsite if I have too much of a low pressure. If I get there and it works great, but I still have low water pressure in my trailer, I'm going to have to check my hose to make sure that I have the right pressure going to my hose. Then if I do that and it doesn't work in my trailer, then I'm going to have to go ahead and figure out why I have some other low pressure to the hose, to the supply from the house. Okay. It could be that I have a bad water hose. We've been through this. I have to take the water. I have to turn the water off. Then I have to unscrew the hose connectors. Then I have to check on the back and see if I have lint. If I have anything in that filter, trash. Usually it's sand, and then I know that I have a problem there. Okay, so if all of that checks, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my water valve. We've already been through how to check the water valve. If the water valve is good, I know that I'm going to go down to the water level sensor. We've talked about how to do that, blowing it on the hose. If that works, then I'm going to plug it back in and see if it works now. And it could have been just some piece of trash was hung up into it. Okay. If something happens and that air pipe has something has gotten into it, it's not letting it sense properly, I may have to remove the inner tub. I have had one I had that problem. But those are very rare. Okay. We've talked about the water inlet valve. How do I check the water inlet valve? If I am checking the water inlet valve, I'm going to check my power coming. I'm going to check my water inlet valve. I'm going to ohm those out. If that ohms out properly, I've got to check next. I'm going to put that together. Then I'm going to check the power coming to the valve. If I have incorrect power coming to the valve, I know that I have one of two problems. I know that I either have a bad PCB or I have a broken wire and it's not sending the right power to the valve. And if I do that, I'm going to have to ohm it out. I'm going to have to ohm out the power from the power side to the water inlet valve. I'm going to ohm that out. If that checks okay, I'm going to check the power to the neutral from the PCB to the switches, the water valve itself. So that if that comes out bad, which is what usually happens, somehow it's gotten it's rubbed on it and it's made an indentation and it's actually shorting it out. Then I'm going to have to fix that. if it happens to be the bad PCB, then I'm going to have to go ahead and replace that PCB, which is probably, I don't remember how much the cost is, but that's probably if I'm having to replace the PCB, I'm going to make sure that I have talked this over with the customer to make sure that the customer is on board with me changing this valve. I have gone, talked to a wife. The wife told me, absolutely, I want you to go ahead and fix my washer. I've gotten done, went and presented the bill to the husband, and the husband goes, what in the heck? No, I am not paying this. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, your wife told me that she wanted me to fix this. I told her how much it was going to be, so she knew. Once I have taken this out of the box and plugged these up, I can't take this back. They will not take this back. So you're going to have to pay me. So that's a conversation that is not a fun one to have with a customer. But that's sometimes, unfortunately, as a technician, that's what we get. Okay, water level sensor. So if I have that issue, first thing I'm doing is calling the office and letting them know. We had a customer that was famous for this. So what I would do is I would have it happened to me one time. I said it'll never happen to me to this customer again. I was working for Circuit City at the time, and I had them sign the whenever I went out there and had to order the part, I made the customer sign that she was approving, because I had already told her exactly what it was. So then whenever he said, I go, listen, she signed for everything. She okayed it. I need you to pay me, which is still a difficult thing to have with a customer. Water level sensor and a control sensor. Once again, we have to check the air pipe. We're going to check the water level sensor, and then it could be the PCB. Okay. So the washer won't agitate, or I get some weird noise that comes out of the washing machine. Could be that I have to replace the agitator, the impeller kit. Could be that the agitator is gone bad. And so I'm gonna have to take it apart and figure out which or both if I need to replace. Door or lid latch assembly. Usually, like I said, I carry a magnet around with me. I can usually use that to tell me if my lid switch is good or bad. If my lid switch is bad, I just have to replace the lid switch. If my lid switch checks okay with my magnet, I am going to have to readjust my lid switch. If I still get nothing on the lid switch and it doesn't work, and I know that I've got my magnet and that it is lined up properly, okay, I've got to start everything all over again. I'm going to have to ohm out the lid switch itself. After I do that, I'm going to have to check the PCB and make sure that I have the correct power going from the PCB to the lid switch. If I have the correct power going from the PCB to the lid switch, after I've ohmed that out, then I am going to, if that lid switch is closed. If I still, it's not showing that lid switch is closed, then I know that I have a wiring issue, and I'm going to have to go and fix my wiring issue. So I have to trace my wire out all the way. Okay. The washer won't agitate. Once again, some weird noise that it comes out. My lid switch assembly could be not working properly. I'm going to check it out. It could be, once again, the motor coupling, just like it used to be on the old Whirlpools. That sometimes you had to replace that motor coupling. So that could be your problem. So I'm gonna get down, check it out, make sure that the motor coupling is good. If it's good, then I'm good. I know that I've got another issue somewhere else. Once again, it could be my drive belt. Okay, I'm going to have to look at my drive belt. I'm going to pull my drive belt off. I'm going to look at my drive belt just to make sure that I don't have any stretch marks, or it's not missing a couple of teeth in the drive belt itself, because it is a V belt. So that's something that you need to know. Okay, the washer won't agitate, or some abnormal noise again. Could be my motor capacitor. I'm telling you that 9 times out of 10, that's not what your problem is. But if you think that could be it, I can always go out and check my motor capacitor. The first thing I'm going to do is look to see if it's disformed in any way. That's the easiest way to tell that a motor capacitor has gone bad, even though it can still be bad, even though it is not deformed. So I may have to go to my truck and get a 9-volt battery. And if you've been with me on any of my wiring classes, I show you how to check a 9-volt. I show you how to check a capacitor. Okay. It could be my drive motor. It's not a common issue, but it could be. So I'm going to check power to my drive motor. It could be that I have a short in the wiring itself, and I'm getting, as it starts to kick into spin, it could be that it knocks the unit and it loses contact, and that could be one of my problems. So I've got to check for wiring. That's usually the first cause, or it could be that the PCB is bad. Okay, so my main control board, we've already talked about how to check it. All you do is check power in and check power out. If I've got power in and I don't have power out, my PCB is bad. It's easy as that. Okay, the washer won't spin, or I got a vibration. Could have it's an E3 with an imbalanced load. Okay, if it won't drain, of course, we go back and we have to check the drain pump. We have to make sure that it's not so high that it's not allowing it to pump the water out of the unit. Once again, we about beat the door switch thing to death. The tub seal and the bearing kit on the balance ring. If the washer won't spin, the tub sealing bearing kit may need to be replaced. This is a very involved repair and will require disassembling the washer. If the bearing is bad, the problem is going to get worse very quick, and so it's either going to need a kit or you're going to have to replace the washing machine. So if I'm running this, I'm going to give the customer an estimate before I walk in. I'm probably going to have them sign the estimate if they're telling me that they want it fixed. My suspension rod assembly, this is just like it was on all the whirl-away washers that were ever manufactured. It connects to the sub-assembly through the cabinet. It reduces the vibration, okay? And then if one or more of the suspension rods are broken, or it's not really broken, it's come out of the holder, I'm going to check all 4. And going to make sure that works. If it does work, I'm going to use, and I need to replace a rod, or it's come off, and I need to lift it back up. I'm actually going to do that by using we had talked about on one of the other classes that I have. If you've been with me, there's a trampoline spring holder that has a really good handle on it, and I can lift that suspension rod up with that and hook it over to where it needs to hook. Okay. If I have a washer that won't spin, or that I have a vibration, we've already talked about pulling the coupling, making sure that it's right. We've talked about the V belt, making sure that the V belt doesn't have any chunks out of it, or that it's stretched. Could be that the clutch is bad. The one thing about that is if the clutch wears out, it may be preventing the tub from spinning. The clutch is not repairable. If it is loud or not working, it will need to be replaced. So you're just going to have to replace the clutch. It's not a repairable part. Then the motor capacitor, we've already been through that several times. I'm going to look to see if it's deformed. If it is, I'm going to have to use my capacitor checker to check my motor capacitor. Okay. My drive motor, it's not a bad common issue. We're going to check through all the other parts. If that's bad, then I'm going to go down to my drive motor. I'm going to check power into my drive motor. If I have power into my drive motor, I know that I got a bad motor. If it's damaged, I'm going to have to replace it. Once again, this is an expensive part, just like the PCB. So if I have any of these two parts that are really expensive, I'm going to have the customer sign that they want this part replaced because there's nothing worse than getting back out there and the customer changing their mind. We talked about how to check the drive motor. Then, of course, my main PCB motor, we've about beat that one with like a dead horse, and it's done. So electric leakage. So to my power cord, okay, it could be that it got wet. So that's one of the reasons that you always have to make sure that everything's dry. Could have a problem with the incoming power. I have an earth ground wire that I have to double check. Everybody knows that's your third prong on your 110 volts plug. If my motor is bad, could be that it got damp or got water spilled on it. If I let it dry, if I let it dry and then it still doesn't work, I'm going to have to replace it. Okay. If I get any water, that's my first thing that I'm going to do. If I have a washer leaking issue, once again, it could be a water inlet hose. If my water inlet hose is bad, I'm going to have to just go to Lowe's and get a new Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. Oh, actually, you need to be going to Encompass and getting your hose from Encompass. That's who pays for these classes. I need to push them as much as I can. So you can get your parts within 2 days if you go to Encompass. And so 9 times out of 10, you can get them within 2 days. My washer inlet hose, I'm going to check that, making sure that it's not leaking through that. My drain hose, I'm going to have to, once again, go to Encompass and get a drain hose for this unit. Then I have a tub seal and bearing kit. If I have this, I'm definitely going to talk to the customer. This is going to be probably as much as the washing machine, and it's probably going to be just about time to replace the washing machine. Usually my tub seal and bearing, that's done because they overloaded the unit. Okay. So how do I check the motor? Okay. If I go between, you can see right here, there are yellow wires, blue wires, and then a light blue wire. If I go and I check my test point and I go between the yellow and the light blue wire, I should have 2.5 to 4.5 ohms. If I go between the blue and the light blue, I should have between 2.5 and 4.5 ohms. That's how I check my motor out. Okay. Here we go for the capacitor. If I go between if the needle rises immediately and indicates infinite ohms, that's going to be the normal value. The needle is stopped after it's raised, means a lack of capacitance at the capacitor. If the needle doesn't move, it means that my capacitor is not fully discharged, and you will know that. It will shock you. So there's my yellow and my blue wire. It shows you right there. My drain pump motor. Here's how to check my drain pump motor. If I go between the red and the light blue, I should have 0.8 ohm to 2 ohms. Okay, that's for my drain pump motor. That's going to tell me that my drain pump motor is working properly if I've got that between 0.8 and 2 ohms. Okay, if I have the resistance between these terminals, I'm going to go between the red and the light blue. That way I should have 15 to 30 ohms. If I go to the water inlet valve, okay, I'm going to go test point between 1 and 2, which is the first and the second terminals. Okay, I'm going to go 0.8 to 1.5 ohms. And then I'm going to have to go to the other side and check it. One's hot, one's cold. Okay. If I'm going to check the frequency of the pressure switch with a load. If the load, it should be, if I go between the first and the third terminal, I should get between 26.7 and then plus or minus 0.3 ohms if that's with no water in it. If the water level is full, I would go between that terminal, those two terminals again. That I should get between 24.5 and 21.93 if it's full. So what I can do is I can take my hose, blow onto that, hold it whenever it clicks, crimp it off and hold it. That indicates that it's full, and I could do that to check to make sure that my unit is full of water to simulate it. Okay, so once again, this is the switch, the lead switch. Check to see if the levers of the safety switch touch. The outer tub is touching. When you do that, you're going to hear it click. Check the content once again of the safety switch if it doesn't connect. Once again, that's where I use my magnet to make sure that I've got it. So that's how I check mine. If it doesn't ohm out, then I got a bad lead switch and I can just replace it. All right, so that finishes the class for today. Does anybody have any questions? Seems like I have one person left in the class. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to ask that you do hang on just a minute and watch the end video where I'm also going to talk. I'm also going to share the Encompass training that's coming up for this month. Actually, no, I'm not. For some reason, the website has gone down for Encompass. Okay. I do not know what has happened. There it went. It finally came up. Okay, so for May, the in class that you go to a place to get. Let's see. We have the dryer today. We've got here is one for the GE refrigerator and dishwasher. That's at the Davie Training Center on May the 8th. Okay. I have a 4-day training that it will be, not me. There is a training that will happen at the Lawrenceville Training Center. That is a $975 course. That's 4 days worth of training. So you also have, let's see, Medea Refrigeration and PTAC. That's at the Dallas Training Center. That's May the 13th. Then we have a 2-day lock ring seal system there in Lawrenceville. So that will be that'll be done. Then at that, let's see, Medea training is going to be moving to the Lawrenceville Center. That will be May the 23rd, the day after my birthday. That is all the training that they have currently for the month of May. Coming up in the month of June, okay, there's a 4-day training for SEAL system, teaching you how to use a torch. That's $975. Then we have a 2-day lock ring training. That is $500. That's at the Lawrenceville system. Then let's see. That looks like we all the inside training that they have set up for the month of June. So please watch this video. Once again, thank you very much. Once again, I had a great time today. I hope everybody else did. Have a wonderful day.